Good morning, everybody. Today is Friday. I hope you are having an awesome Friday. Welcome to TLD Chat. My name is Alan Natachu. I'm a learning experience designer with Madison Area Technical College here in Madison, Wisconsin. And with me today, I have Alyshahn from Goosechase. So we're going to be talking about Goosechase.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Glad to be here. Happy Good Friday.
So Alyshahn, before we get started and talking about Goosechase, I want to get to know a little bit about you. So can you give us a brief background of who you are, how you got into L&D, and
Sure.
yeah, we'll start off with there.
So who I am a sales professional, I guess. I actually work for a couple of different companies, Goosechase being one of them, and then Planswell being the other one. What's really special about Goosechase is that I was actually roommates with Andrew Cross, who's our CEO, for 4 or 5 years.
Oh, nice.
And when he started the Goosechase at the University of Waterloo, I came on 4 months after that to help with sales. Fast forward 8 years, it's been a crazy ride. We just kept growing and growing almost accidentally. We never did any marketing. We never did any, pushes. What we were really happy about is that people just enjoyed using our application and kept finding new ways to think about our application. So whether it was, we started as a team building and student orientation program, and people just kept coming up with different ways. So in the classroom, or team building events or conferences, engagement, onboarding. So we keep growing and trying to make the platform bigger. We're now a team of 13. I lead most of the sales and strategy for the enterprise. I think some people may be familiar with Phil if they've worked with our platform, who's our VP of education. So that's a little bit about Goosechase. We crossed $1 million in revenue last year, which was very exciting. So
Nice.
we've kind of doubled down and really focusing on improving the technology. So we have a few major feature releases coming this year that I'm really excited about. A couple we've already launched. Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to know?
No, that's perfect. And
Awesome.
I am a fan of Goosechase. Here at Madison College, I help run a internal conference called Tech Academy, and we used it a couple years back. We're trying to employ more ways of employee engagement because this internal conference is for our faculty and staff here, and we started doing gamification. Our first year of gamification really worked well, but it was a lot of hassle. We had to create secret agent missions. We had to use all sorts of different tools like Google Voice to create a recorded voicemail message, sent people out all over the place, kind of a mini scavenger hunt. And it was just a lot of work. And the following year, we're trying to find something new. That's when Pokemon Go really took off. It's the first year. And we were trying to figure out, okay, how could we recreate that Pokemon Go-like experience? And after digging around, we stumbled upon Goosechase. And a lot of people really loved it.
That's awesome. That's great news.
And it was really simple to set up. We got up and going in 25% of the time it took us compared to our first gamification experience. So 2 weeks worth of work turned into like 2.5 days.
That's awesome. I'm seeing some of the comments on the side here. They're pretty funny with my tiny coffee. The one thing I'll mention is, to your point, when we created Goosechase and early in my career with Goosechase, I spoke at a lot of team building conferences, event planner conferences. And one of the things that was really important to me is that you notice that today with technology, cell phones, computers, people tend to be so social. And I put it in brackets because the interesting thing is that we're all on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, we're all on our computers or on different apps, WhatsApp. So we're actually less social. And when we talk about Goosechase, the purpose of the app, and you'll notice that we actually developed a lot slower in terms of our feature sets than a lot of our competitors did in our early days. And that's because we really, really want to make sure that our app continues to be about engagement, interacting with people and surroundings, and just using the technology to facilitate, I like to say, keeping your head up versus keeping your head in the phone and focusing on, what the technology brings, whether that's like a GPS or Pokemon Go is a great example of it, where it gets you engaged with your surroundings and getting outside. But one of the funniest things about Pokemon Go is that you'll be in a park and everybody will be staring at their phone, trying to play with their phone, but there's all these other people around them that they're not interacting with. So when we talk to clients about Goosechase setting up missions, we always suggest to them to try and find ways to create missions that interact with others or enable them to be in their surroundings a little bit more.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm an avid Pokemon Go player. I'm at level 38.
Congratulations.
One more year, I'll hit 40. But yeah, you're right. With Goosechase, it is very kind of heads up experience versus heads down on a phone.
Mm-hmm.
Never truly appreciated that until you pointed it out. So thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
All right. So I got a quick question for everybody before we go on. I got a poll. So I want everyone to go down to the poll. If you haven't checked out the poll, check it out. The poll is: did you participate in the Goosechase demo? I created this quick Goosechase experience, and I posted the instructions on our Slack group. So if you're able to participate, that's great. And if you didn't know that what was happening, well, check out our Slack group. So it looks like we got 4 people who participated and 6 people didn't quite know about it. But, oh, sorry, J-Rock. Work blocks the slackness. Anyway, if you want to participate right now, you can download the Goosechase app on your App Store, iOS or Android. And looks like Karen North posted the game code for it. So if you want to check it out as we're talking about it, please feel free to do so. All right, so I'll turn it over to you.
To me, okay,
Yeah.
Great. So I think what might make sense for everybody on the side, so I see some people that have used it, some people that haven't used it, is if we maybe go through the experience of what creating a Goosechase is like, and then we can talk about some questions. We'll go through the administrative side, and then maybe I can turn it over to some of the live users to just throw some questions out, and we can have a conversation. Does that work?
That works great.
Okay, awesome. So let me share my screen here.
Right, as we're going that, I'm answering some questions in chat. Goosechase is a mobile device game, and you do need a mobile device to participate. There's no web interface for this yet. I shouldn't. I'm sorry, Kara.
Yeah, so the way it works is that administrative portion of the game, so how you set up the game is web, but the user experience is all going to be on the phone or on your tablet. Awesome. So if everybody can see my screen here, we're on our Goosechase homepage. Yep. So after you've created an account, you'll see a My Games screen. You'll have your account information. So I'm just going to click into My Games here. You have our fun video on the right-hand side here. But really what you're going to want to do is you'll see this as an empty slot. You won't have any games available to you because you'll be a new user if you're first time creating an account. Going to create new game. Here you can upload your image appropriately of whatever you want your users to see when you log into your game. And we'll call this TLDC. If you'd like your users to, when they join the game, see a particular, or if you'd like to encourage, users within a specific location that are joining the app to see your game or to have it featured, you can actually type in a game location. So for example, I'm located in Toronto, Ontario. I might type in something very central, CN Tower on Front Street West. Now, everybody that is in the area that opens the Goosechase app will see my game as featured. And then I can password protect my game. So game passwords are great if you want to restrict it to a select group of people. If you're having a public game, like a festival or a contest of sorts for public, which is pretty cool. Actually, funny story. There's a fertility clinic in Boston called Spring Fertility. and they had a public game that they launched across the United States. And the winner of the game actually got a $13,000 egg freezing prize. So there's a lot of really cool applications. Yeah, we've had the Adelaide Fringe Festival, Edinburgh Fringe Festival use our application every year for millions of individuals heading to their festival as a way to drive participation to venues, encourage people to meet with different artists, meet with different people at the venue to build that camaraderie and culture at the festival. So once that's done, I'm going to click Save and Continue. And you'll notice that on the left-hand side, you have all the setup tabs. And on the right-hand side, you have the missions, mission banks, previous missions, and then you have some mission list order opportunities on the right-hand side. So we're going to stay in missions here. And there's a couple ways to add missions. So the first thing you can do is you can head to the mission bank. The mission bank is a list of 100 pre-created missions that we've created early in our years. We admittedly haven't updated these that much because we get a lot of really good feedback that people love the missions that are in here. And oftentimes what our customers will do is they will take the missions that they see here and use them as inspiration to create their own missions. So to add a mission from the mission bank, the Goosechase mission bank, we're going to click add. I'll add a couple there. And if I scroll down, I'll maybe add some of the more complicated ones. So we're going to locate a shopping cart, take a dip. And you'll notice that the theme of all of our missions, or the central topic that you can find in common, is that they all encourage people to engage in some shape or form, either with other people or with their surroundings, to keep that head up out of your phone attitude. As you create more missions, you'll actually notice that you have your own mission bank that appears for you. So any pictures that or any missions that I had created previously are available to me to add back into my game. That way, you don't have to recreate everything you're doing. If there's some overlap between different games you're creating, you can go ahead and use your own bank. So let's head over to the mission list. So in the mission list, you can see that the four missions that I've added to this game are already there. The next thing I want to do is add some more of my own custom missions. So you'll see here, there's the add mission to list button, and right beside it, there's a drop-down arrow. If I click the drop-down arrow, I get the opportunity to see the different types of missions that I can add. So photo, video, text, or GPS. Let's add a text-based mission. So when I add a text-based mission, I'm going to give it a name. So let's just call this and we'll say, what was the date of the TLDC podcast? So what you'll see here is that I have the ability to add an accepted answer. So I can write a specific date. I can write, 4/19/19 in slashes, and I can separate all the answers that I'd like by commas. However, for me, the best way to use the text answers is to actually get an opportunity to generate feedback from the users that are playing the game about my event or about the game in general, or just about the organization. So I might say something like, describe in 3 words you like best about TLDC. That would be my one question. And what I would have here is I just leave this blank and I'd add, and that would allow me to accept all answers. As a participant, you have the ability to add that, gain points for the missions. I can change the value, add a custom mission. So this is really important for me as an organizer to know. So I'm going to award 10,000 points for this. And as an administrator, what I can do at the end of the game is I can download all the text answers via an XLS and then segregate and understand the comments that were taken. It's a really, really great way to get feedback directly within the app and award your participants for actually providing that versus doing something like sending a survey afterwards or trying to collect emails and things like that. So I'm going to save the changes, and that's going to get added to this mission here. You can't have comma values. Perfect. And let's just add one more mission here so that you guys can take a look at some of the other features. So now I'm going to add a photo or video mission. Let's just pretend that I've added it there. There's a couple things that you'll see across the bottom. So the first one is advanced settings. So you can see that I can choose whether or not I want to accept photos only, videos only, or photos and videos. It allows you to be very specific. In the platforms, for those of you who are familiar with it, there is a live leaderboard and a live newsfeed. However, in many cases, customers don't want their participants to see their competitors' photographs and videos or text answers. So we do have the ability to actually hide which of the submissions are available to be seen, hide or show which of them can be seen. This is a great way to create engagement. What we find is that when people see other people taking really great shots or have gone to specific missions that are, say, like landmarks or specific areas they want to visit, it actually encourages them to go out and do that. However, if it's a text-based answer, like you're getting feedback or sensitive information from your clients or your participants, you may want to hide those.
And in our Goosechase demo that people are playing right now, a lot of our answers are hidden just because of that. I wanted to protect the privacy of our participants.
That's awesome. So that's a great example of that. And then one thing that's new, Alan, that you may not have noticed is you'll see now that we have this available section here. So what's really neat is that previously we're actually, and let me take a step back here, because what we're trying to do, a little bit of inside information for everybody on this particular podcast is that we're actually looking towards releasing something that we're calling game scripts. We've been working on this for over a year now. It's a bit of a secret, but we're really excited about it. Game scripts will give our organizers the ability to create a storyline of their Goosechase. So having like if this then that missions, time dependent missions, exploding missions. For example, let's say the first mission is check in at the CN Tower. And when you complete that GPS mission, another mission comes up that says go inside, take a picture of, let's just say the ticket booth. When you complete that one, another mission comes up, and that will actually give you the ability to create a timeline. So the first part of that release is giving organizers the ability to hide and expire missions. So if you, for example, wanted to do a flash mission where you give all of your participants 5 or 10 minutes to complete a mission, and those who complete it get the points, you can actually set it to expired once you think that the time is up, and people can see the mission and know that they weren't able to complete it, which is really exciting.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Sorry, go ahead.
That just blows my mind. In real life, branching scenarios.
Yes. It's
so
really exciting.
That's what you need to take away. In real life, branching scenarios. That is awesome.
Yeah, I think it's the thing that I'm most excited about. We get a lot of requests for Amazing Race type events or treasure hunt type events. And those from a pure technology standpoint, from a coding perspective, are really difficult to do. Something that not a lot of people know is that Andrew, our CEO and head of product, is actually self-taught. He's a mechanical engineer by trade from the University of Waterloo, taught himself how to code mobile, taught himself how to code web. So some of these major changes that other companies and other really great developers have trouble tackling, Andrew's just figuring out a way to do it. And I think that that's really exciting for our customers because we hear the feedback that we get. And actually, again, a little secret for you guys is our entire development roadmap is based 100% on our customer feedback. We don't do anything internally without first consulting all of our customer feedback on a month-by-month basis, prioritizing it by number of requests that were given. And then based on that, over a set time period, we actually use it to create new features for our new and existing customers. So really exciting. We don't see that changing in the future either. We want to keep creating what people are asking for, as long as it matches with the ethos of our company, which is creating engagement.
Nice, love it.
Awesome. So now that we've created our missions, we see we have all answers accepted here. One more thing that I should mention, actually, I just click edit here, is that you can attach links and images within each individual mission if you'd like. So I think I had an example of it in one of my previous missions in my bank here. So you can see that we actually had a sponsor at an event, and so we added their branding directly to the mission so they get a little bit of that exposure. One thing that we as a company will never do is have pop-ups or banner ads while the game is going on. Personally, I know that I hate when I'm in an app
Mhm.
and my experience gets interrupted. Even when I'm checking the weather, my experience gets interrupted by an ad. It's very frustrating. And being that we're an experience-based platform, we want people to really focus on the experience, not on the branding, not on the sponsorship. We think that's inherent. If you can provide a great experience for somebody, they will definitely build brand loyalty to the people that are putting it on. So you'll actually notice that when you're in our app participating, not even our logos are anywhere in our app. It's just the purple top here and then the white of the missions, and that's by design because we do want to create an opportunity for users to really immerse themselves. The only area that we allow companies to brand, so you see this branding tab here, is just an image that comes up before users see the missions for the first time. And this is just as a way to essentially allow them to have that like brief message of thanks for playing, or just an image there that is associated. So for those of you who've seen our platform before, you may have seen this, you may have not. People really like it, but it's also a really great way to just enable people to drive sponsorship, especially for fundraisers or potential nonprofit organizations as well. And then on this screen, you'll also see that we have a terms of service link optional section here. So a lot of our customers actually want to extend our terms of service to their participants because they want to either collect information to use for marketing purposes, or they want to use the photos and images on their website or on their social media. And this is a great way to just make sure that you've protected yourself from a liability standpoint if any of the things that you're going to do are even a little bit blurry from a terms of service potential. So when we added this in, this was huge, especially for our public and fundraising and NPO type customers conferences as well. So definitely, that's on the branding page and available to everybody as you go.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, that is
So,
great.
so the last thing I'll say here in terms of setups, or the last couple things here. So on the participants tab here, you have the ability to set up the game by either teams or individual players. You can pre-create your teams if you'd like, or you can just have people create their teams as they join. There is a couple of different ways to play as a team. So for example, if all of us were playing a game and we all split into teams, we could all download the application onto our phone, join our individual teams, and then all the missions we complete would be going to a cumulative score on the leaderboard, the live newsfeed in the leaderboard. That's really great when you have a remote team, people in different locations. That's also a great way for you to create missions. So you can create some missions that are Toronto-based, some that are Florida-based, California-based, if that's how your team is spread up, which is really exciting. The second way to play is that if we're all local, one of us can download as a team members, one of us can download the app onto our phone and we can all travel together. So different ways to create engagement depending on who your audience is and how you'd like people to participate. Finally, you just create a start and stop time. So you can actually have an automatic start and stop time. This is really great if you want people to join your game well prior to it starting. So for example, if you have an onboarding class, I think I saw somebody mention in the chat a few minutes ago that they're thinking about this for onboarding. We have some really cool use cases with onboarding that that companies use across the world. For example, we have one major theme park that uses our application to onboard new employees and existing employees to new sections of the theme park that they're actually going to be releasing to the public prior to releasing them. So they might say, we want everybody to do the Goose Chase on April 26th from 12 p.m. to maybe 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but we'd like to send this out and have everybody join. And users can join the game, but they won't be able to see the missions until the game goes live. We have some conferences that want to create a lot of hype and launch the Goose Chase at once together. So they might say, an hour duration or an hour and a half duration, and then they do a launch, and then they pop the screen up on the big screen in the conference room, and they actually start the game, and everybody kind of like disperses and starts running around to complete mission. So different ways to leverage some of the seemingly more small tools to really create a different feel or a different type of engagement for your users and participants. We encourage everybody to be as creative as possible, share your feedback, share your experience, because it's really what makes our community so great at Goosechase, is that we share across the different customer stories that we hear back to new and existing customers, and people really appreciate that and love that, and we want to bring that to everybody.
All right. So I'm going to cut in for a moment.
Sure.
Kim has a really great comment in the chat. This is one of the most exciting things I've seen in a long time. So,
thanks, Kim. That's awesome. I appreciate that. Is Goosechase going to be at the Canadian eLearning Conference in July? I actually think, I don't know the answer to that. I'll have to ask our VP of Education, Phil, and I'll definitely get back to Alan with that, and he can let everybody know.
Yep, Slack. I'll let everyone know in Slack, and then we'll post it on the socials as well.
Awesome. So let me just finish here, and I'll just then turn it over to see what questions we have, and we can maybe start a little bit of a conversation. So once the game is live, you'll see that there's 3 portions here, or 3 more tabs: activity feed, leaderboard, and submissions. So when you're in the activity feed, what will happen is that all of the missions that are being completed will come up here in real time. And as a administrator, you can choose to add bonus points, take away points. And so what I'm going to do is I actually want to show this to you guys, what it looks like. So I'm going to click out of here. I'm going to go into a game that's ended. I'm going to show you the activity feed here. So you can see all the missions as they come in real time. And as an administrator, what you can do is you can add bonus points. And when I say add bonus points, it can also be a subtraction of points. And you can actually give a reason for why you're adding that bonus that would actually be sent to that team so that they get that notification, which is kind of cool, because it actually allows you to make sure that people are playing the game with integrity, or you're rewarding people for really going above and beyond with creativity. From a public standpoint, if you wanted to have a trending topic, or you have a trending topic, so for example, you have a conference, or you're on a webinar on a Friday in April, and you want to call it, let's say like hashtag TLDC, you would write that here. And anytime anybody posts directly from our app to Twitter, this hashtag will automatically be appended. And what that allows you to do is then search the hashtag and have all of the posts associated with the hashtag here, including the Goosechase ones. That's really exciting for us. I was really pumped when we added that, because I think it's something that our customers asked for quite a bit, and we've seen some really cool uptake with that. The next section here is the leaderboard. So the leaderboard essentially just shows where you are, or shows you as the administrator how all the teams are doing, what place they're in, how many points they have. But what's really, really neat about this screen, and something that people often overlook, is that we have the ability, or you as an administrator have the ability, to send direct messages to either the team or to the game as a whole to drive that engagement. So if you're going to send it to all participants, one of the coolest stories that I like, I used to work at Salesforce a few years ago. They use our platform every summer for a team building event. And what they do is they actually keep the end location wherever they want everybody to end up a secret until a couple of hours before the game ends. So the way they use our platform is they'll actually, let's say the game ends at 6 o'clock, at 5 o'clock, they'll say, hey, everybody, head over to this area. That's where we're going to meet. At 5:30, they tighten the geography. And then at 5:50, they'll say something like, hey, we're meeting at this bar. Scavenger Hunt ends in 10 minutes. If you can get here, there's one mission that you can complete here at the bar if you get here before 6 o'clock. So it's a great way to create engagement, notify everybody, keep them within the app, and then also award people for actually being on time to start the last part of the event. On the screen, you can also manually adjust scores. So again, add and delete points, not by mission, but by score as a total. So another great example is if you have a thematic portion of your game, again, the Salesforce example, they always have their teams dress up in different costumes or themes. So I know that the one year, the team that won the costume part of it was they all dressed up as Ninja Turtles, excuse me. So what they did is they just went in here and they awarded 1,000 bonus points, which adds to the total score of the team for being best dressed. And then finally, if you feel like somebody is participating with poor integrity, you can actually completely remove them from the game. Last but not least, or not last, second last, the submissions tab. So here in the submissions hub, you can actually group submissions by points, missions, or by alphabetical order and download them directly to your computer in a zip file. So one-click download. It's a great way to get all of the assets onto your computer. We don't have a built-in slideshow, as you guys can see here, but what you can do and what a lot of folks do is they'll download the submissions and then just drop them into their favorite program to put up for everybody to enjoy and have conversations around. Say it's at the end of the event. One of the coolest things that I've seen, or a couple of different things, is we have one company that on a regular basis will download all the submissions that they have, the photos and videos, and create a video collage. And they use that as an onboarding tool and a recruiting tool for new employees. I think that's a super cool way to just show your culture, show how people engage. It's really exciting. And then we have some folks that will download all the submissions and then on a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly basis send, most courageous photo of the week, or most hilarious photo, best team building photo. Great way to create some really, really great water cooler talk. I don't think anybody has water coolers anymore, but the general water cooler talk that people, instead of maybe making people feel a little bit awkward and not know how to interact with their colleagues, this kind of becomes a talking point. And then finally, you'll notice that here we have a join by game code. So when you start your game, you do have the ability to edit your game code as well. So you can actually make this custom. So we could have had a game code that was TLDC, for example. And when we push the game out to everybody to join, you could choose to join either by email or by a guest and actually just use the game code to join. And that's it from an administrative portion. So what I'll do now is I'll jump back into the chat. I'll stop sharing my screen. Let's see here. And I can turn it over to Alan to see if there's any specific questions, or if we just want to maybe take some questions from the chat.
All right, cool. So as you were going through the explanation, I was going through my game and giving bonus points, removing points from people. So if they didn't follow the instructions, the group got notifications saying, hey, you got bonus points, or hey, sorry. So the one who submitted the Rickroll, you have to sing that. I wanted to video you singing that.
So let's, so Alan, do you have any specific questions or items that you think we should talk about that would be helpful for everybody? Or do we want to maybe throw it over for some questions? What do you think?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and answer some questions. So Kara asked, do you have any uses for Goosechase for students? Yes.
So the education portion is, I would say, probably about 50% of our business. Phil, our VP of Education, who came on, he's actually now our CEO, came on a few years ago, actually created an entirely different experience for our education users. So let me just actually share my screen one more time here, and I'll show you guys something.
All right. So I'm a bad host. I forgot to plug in my computer. I'm going to step away for a moment to grab my cord as you answer that.
Sure. So let me show you guys. So for education users, we actually have an entire education webpage. And now you notice that it's very similar, but it's actually 100% focused on education. Primarily K-12 universities tend to be a little bit different. So as you can see here, the universities and colleges actually focus off of our main site. But the education site is really neat because we actually have game libraries. So one of the things that I love about working with teachers and educators is that they're so passionate about sharing what they've done and allowing other people to really take advantage of that. And so you'll have teachers that will provide us the ability to use their games, or provide teachers the abilities to use their games. So you see we have some examples: kindergarten, 5th to 8th grade, 9th to 12th, staff building, and then field trips. And if you click, you can actually see the missions associated with the games to decide if you want to actually copy this game and play it. Alternatively, you can just maybe copy some of these missions and use these appropriately the way you want within your game. So great question. If you want to find out more about the EDU portion of our offering, you can head to goosechase.com/edu.
Yep. And the support for EDU is really awesome.
Yeah, so we do have a dedicated customer success manager. Really excited to announce that. Last year we had a couple of part-time folks, but as we grew, we actually added a couple of people on a full-time basis to support our customers, via phone, email, and soon chat. We're hoping to launch chat support soon too.
All right. Next question comes from Anne. Do you have resistance from clients on the interaction in real life?
If I'm understanding your question correctly, definitely not. I think one of the things that we learn about people is that in general, people want to interact with one another. They want to meet new people, but I don't think a lot of people know how to do that anymore, which is a little bit unfortunate. I think for the majority of the people on this webcast, I know for myself, I was the last generation before internet. So I was at the grocery store the other day with my girlfriend, and I was telling her how when I was a kid, I used to go to the corner store with my dad every month to pick out a Maple Leafs magazine. And she asked me, why is that? It's because we didn't have the internet. So I counted on a sports magazine every month to get updates on the team and stuff like that. And what we hear from feedback perspective from our clients is that when we suggest, break down collegial walls, get people to interact with each other, use missions as a way to have conversations, the feedback that we get is that it was a really easy way for them to break down some of those nerves that come from, what do I talk about, or how do I meet this person? What questions do I ask? Can I talk about something beyond what this person is talking about at their booth? So it's definitely not something we get pushback on. On the contrary, I would say that it's one of the things that people get most excited about when they give us feedback.
All right, so we got a couple of other questions here. We'll just go ahead and answer them. This one comes from Kristen. Does it require a constant connection? Meaning if you're at a really crowded festival where self-service is spotty, would you still be able to use it?
Yeah, good question, Kristen. So yes, the game does require an internet connection because it's all in real time. So whether that's a Wi-Fi or cell connection, fair question. We've only had that be a problem a couple of times, to be honest, and that's been at very rural locations. So Subaru is one of our big clients that uses us at what they call SubiFest. It's car enthusiasts, Subaru car enthusiasts that all gather together to see different engines, different cool modifications to Subarus at different locations across the United States. They have 5 events every year, and the only one that they haven't been able to use us at is at a rural location in Florida because there's just no cell signal up there.
Right. So Kim asks, do you have Goosechase users in companies with very strong firewalls?
We do, yeah. So that is a great question. We are being used by hospitals, major banks and financial institutions, insurance companies as well. So Northwestern Mutual, Manulife, TD Bank. We have a couple of hospitals that I can't talk about. So definitely that is something that, or some of the customers that we do have. The reason that we're able to work with those customers is that we actually don't collect any personally identifiable information in our app. So you'll notice that the most information we'll ever ask for is a name and an email. And even then, users don't have to provide that to us to join a game. So that was really big for us. And if you think about it, education is such a sensitive industry. You're collecting the names of minors anywhere from 6 years old to 15, 16, 17 years old. So it's really important that we're secure and protected, and we don't have access to that information because, today's world, you never know. So adding the game code in allows students to join Goosechase, or those that want to protect their information, without even having to enter their name or their email address. They're just joining by code. So a good question, and definitely something we're very, very conscious of and continue to solve for.
Right, awesome. Let's see. Question about, new to this platform. All right. I copied and pasted one in, so I don't know who asked. This is interface questions. So does hidden enable you to design missions in advance, then activate them, then expire them?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and you can always design missions, keep them in your mission bank, and then drag them over to the game in real time. So we have a lot of customers that will have, let's say, 100 missions that they want people to complete over the course of 10 days. And every day they release 10 new missions into the game, which is actually a great way to drive engagement back to the platform, as opposed to releasing all 100 at once, where you might tend to get people dropping off, maybe towards day 3, day 4, day 5, when other priorities start to crop up. It's not as novel. So when you use that combination of launching missions in real time, as well as combining it with the ability to send push notifications, you're really driving participation back into the app.
All right. We haven't talked about cost, so there's a question about cost.
Sure. So in terms of cost, the way that we price, the way that our costs are by duration of game and by number of users. So typically what we do is we have a 15-minute call with those that are looking for, and let me backtrack. On our website, you'll see that we do have 2 pricing options that you can actually purchase directly online, upgrade your game. It's $2.99 for 8 teams or 8 individuals, depending on how your game is going to be played. Teams of up to 5. So if you have teams of 5 by 8, you're looking at about 40 players. And then we have a $4.99 option, which is up to 20 teams or 100 players or 20 individuals. And you can purchase those directly off of our website. You'll also notice that we have a recreational version, which allows you to use our application for 3 teams at no cost. We don't hide or gate any of the options that we've gone over here today for our recreational version. We don't believe in that. We want you to be able to use all of the feature sets that we have, no matter how many teams you're using. So as we release new missions, that'll also be available in our recreational version. For any games above 20 teams, above 20 individuals on an individual game basis, we have a quick 15-minute call with our customers and understand a little bit more details, duration, how many players, how many games they're looking for. We do have per game purchases as well as yearly subscriptions that would allow for unlimited games, unlimited participants. So anybody that is interested, definitely feel free to reach out to me. My information is on the TLDCast website, I believe, and I'd be happy to chat with anybody.
All right. And is there an education discount for those of us who work in education?
There is. The education pricing is vastly different. The platform is slightly different. So definitely, if you go to our EDU website, you have the opportunity to fill out a little bit more information, and somebody from our education team will be in touch with you.
All right, thanks. All right. And ask, could they get their own white label app or a link for inclusion in their own app?
Good question. So white labeling is not something that's possible today. From a mobile SDK standpoint, that's something that we hope to launch, being able to allow users to skin our application. It is a challenge in that what we would have to do today is essentially create a clone of our application and then host multiple apps on the App Store. We've spoken about it with many clients, including Hershey and Coca-Cola, and just to be perfectly honest, it's too expensive. It doesn't make sense. By the time people download the Goosechase app, they're searching for your game anyways, and they kind of forget that they've downloaded Goosechase, which is great. The experience, they live in the experience that you have created for them. That being said, you can hyperlink if you have your own application, you can't hyperlink to Goosechase. So Blackboard Teacher Conference, for example, had their own application. And what they did was they just had a button in their app that said Scavenger Hunt. And when people clicked it, it linked to Goosechase. And of course, they have to have the Goosechase app downloaded for it to work. Otherwise, it would just link them to the App Store.
Right. So Kristen asked, wild question here, but X API statement sent?
Let me just see. Sorry, I just want to make sure I understand the question a little bit more. Kristen, could you clarify for me what you mean?
And while she's clarifying, let's go to the last question. Can you add an event on the fly after you launched your scavenger hunt?
Absolutely.
I know the answer to that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, it's a great way to keep engagement high. One of the ways that I love adding missions in real time is something that I like to call flash missions. So let's say you're having an event, it's 10 days long, and you have 100 people playing, and on the 8th day, somebody new wants to join. It can be very challenging for that person, daunting. Even if they want to play, they feel like they don't have a chance at the prizes or to catch up. So by launching a flash mission, you could say, hey, we've launched a mission live. All of our missions are timestamped. So first person to complete this mission wins, $100 gift card to Starbucks. So it's a great way to involve even those people that were unable to join from the start. We see a lot of success with that.
All right. Thank you. And Kristen, let's see.
Oh, I see it here. Yeah, Kristen. So we do have an open API. We don't have any specific integrations or partners that we work with from an integration standpoint on a regular basis. I would definitely suggest that if you have a unique ask or conversation topic, reach out. Let's jump on a call and we can talk through it. If we need to involve our product team, happy to do that. Kim, integration with LMS, same thing. We do have an open API and the ability to share information. It would just depend on who the provider was on the other side, what their technology looked like. So definitely happy to have that conversation.
Awesome. LMS interface, is that possible?
Again, I think that LMS interfacing, so just to reiterate with that, depends on the LMS, depends on the API that they have available, and then what would be required on our end from a coding perspective. So always open to having those conversations, and if it makes sense, we'd be happy to work with you on getting that done.
All right, thanks. All right, so it looks like that is the end of the questions here.
Awesome.
And unless there's anything else in the chat, I do have a screen that's loaded up with participant answers and whatnot that I'd like to share so that everyone can see from admin in a game that's live.
Awesome.
Let's see. Let me share my screen. Share. All right, there we go. So it looks like East Coast is rocking it. Looks like Kara's on the mission. I added a couple of missions here live. I added a secret spot mission. And those are GPS missions. So if you submitted to a particular question inside the Goosechase app and you put in your city and location, that's what I use for the GPS secret spot location. So you can go to one of those 3 extra missions, hit the button and see if you won 1,000 points. I can see participants here. I created the 3 teams, and this is a free game that we're participating in. We got 3 teams happening. And from here, I got this going till Saturday. So if you still want to hop on and check this out, this will be available to the TLDC community for another day. My leaderboard is here. I get to see who's first, second, third. I can send messages to individual teams or to all participants. I can manually adjust scores, or I can initiate the ban hammer and get rid of somebody. And submissions, Natachu's favorite food. And yes, my favorite food is tacos. I could see the submissions. I could see if it's spelled correctly. And if not, I can go back and say, nope, sorry, I don't accept that. Or I could add a bonus to that submission. And what's really great about the submissions hub here is that you can download all the submissions. It will download all the text. It will download all the photos. And if there are videos, if people uploaded videos in the game, you could download those as well. Right now, let me stop sharing here. Banhammer. No, I don't. I picked up that term, so I don't know where it comes from.
Awesome.
All right. Let's see. Sonia, great quote. I loved this game.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining in. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to type in my email address in the chat here. If anybody has any further questions, wants to reach out, even just have a little bit of a brainstorming session, feel free to shoot me a note, and we can figure out a time to chat.
Awesome. So we're toward the end of this. We're going to end a little early, which is great for a Friday.
Yes.
Unless there's anything else, I'd like to thank Alyshahn. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today, and I'll see you next time. All right.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Thank you. All right.
Bye.
Have a great weekend, all.